Try this shit again. Load, 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 load. Oh, it's looking good. No, no.
Yeah, I'll be
All
right back, bro.
Damn, nigga. I think this
Just
shit
load it.
just start working, dog.
I'll be right back. Thank you, man.
All right, man. What's up, everybody? Live stream. We had some difficulties this morning getting on the live stream, but hold up. There we go. But at the end of the day, we here. Me and Russ B made it happen. Russ B took off. I don't know. He might have to take a shit or something like that. But hopefully he gets back real soon. We're gonna cover a few topics. We really want to get into interaction with y'all today. We're still in the testing phase, just playing with some things before we figure out where we're really gonna go with the show. What's up, Benny D? What's up, Isaiah Matthews.com? What's good with all y'all? What are some things that y'all want to talk about today? By the matter of fact, while I'm waiting on Russ, or Russ is just coming.
Yo.
There you go. We're gonna touch on Nipsey a little bit because we haven't had a chance to talk about it in this platform. But Calvin Coolidge was good, dog. But definitely, if you guys have some things that you would like to hear us talk about today, we're just gonna freestyle and chop it up with y'all. But Russ is back, so Russ, go ahead and let's get this thing popping. You know, I told him we're gonna be talking about Nipsey and stuff like that.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Russ B with your man Brandman Sean. Welcome to the Culture Shock Show. Could get at me at Russ B 1334, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Man, Brandman, how you feeling, man?
Good, man. Good, man. Let's get it popping.
Cool. So I see Isaiah Matthews. What's going on, man? I see you asked a good question. What about the importance of media with brand development as an artist? What kind of media are you talking about specifically, Isaiah? Let's specify media. Are we talking digital media, or are we talking traditional media like print and press and stuff like that?
Hey, man, I'm seeing too many artist questions and stuff like that as far as getting real specific. This is my off moment right now. but it does give me an idea. What we're gonna do with this platform is we're gonna start doing an episode here or there specifically maybe dedicated to some of those general questions. We'll answer these right here, but in the future we should do some things specifically talking about that. But first I want to go ahead and get into Nipsey before we start answering these questions.
Yeah. So yeah, man, you know, everybody's been hearing all of these stories, and it's a lot to uncover, you know. Obviously, Nipsey, I expressed on this channel a couple times that he's one of my favorite rappers, if not my favorite at the current moment. And you know, I don't know if it gets more tragic than this. It took me, you know, 2 weeks removed to even properly talk about this. So yeah, man, it's crazy, and my issue at this point is just like I really don't. It's really hard for me to talk about like a lot of these other stories, like the Kodak Black, or like what just came out with the cop saying, you know, trying to be funny, talking about Nipsey's family and stuff like that. Like, it's really hard for me to even like go into these stories, to be honest, because I don't even want these stories to be given any light, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I really
let's not do that. I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't even want these stories to get any light, to be real with you. And the one that I will talk about that I think is also crazy, which it really just bothers me that losing Nipsey is turning into like what feels like a media circus, but like just the whole Chris Darden thing. Because I have I am somebody like I do watch like all of those like OJ documentaries and shit like that. So when I heard Chris Darden's name, I immediately knew what that was. Like, wow, man, that's boy that you know, from all these fucking movies and shit like that. I get his thought behind it. You know, as a guy that was in such a big trial, he's kind of just taking a position where he knows that this case is going to get him a lot of publicity. So he's really just kind of going at it in a selfish route where he just understands that if he represents Eric Holder, he's going to get a lot of attention and publicity that he doesn't even have to pay for.
100%.
You know, that's everybody will want to like, why would you do this if you know that the killer is guilty and all this? If you don't know, that's why. It's selfish, but that is his thinking behind that. You know, he wants to soak up as much publicity as possible, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't like a leading guy on the OJ case. He was, he was behind Johnny and people like that. So he got to see the light that it brought to Johnny. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he understands that light that it'll bring to himself, especially something this controversial at the end. But I guess when you think about how a lot of attorneys and lawyers, and of course, this isn't all of them, but you represent so many people that I know they know they're guilty in a lot of these cases, right? So, I mean, of course, they can lean on a law and things like that and say the due process and things like that, but there has to be some sort of disassociation that a lot of these people even take where they don't move on integrity in terms of that's who they represent. They have their own, it's more about their career in selfish reasons. In some cases, that's not everybody, but I'm sure that exists. But I think more positively, man, I think was something that artists need to really understand and look at Nipsey is the fact that, like, I'm from Atlanta, right? I've most of the time on the East Coast in the majority of my life. So when I talk to a lot of people from back home or that I just know in general on the East Coast, you don't really hear Nipsey a lot, particularly over the years. When you say who's your top five, you're not going to hear Nipsey. Who you listen to right now, you usually aren't going to hear Nipsey and things like that, right? So me rocking with Nipsey is something that I thought was a little bit more in isolation because I'm not in LA all the time. I was in LA over the last week, but I'm not in LA all the time. So I'm thinking I really appreciate Nipsey, but I don't really have a lot of people that I talk to that appreciate Nipsey. But when he passed, you saw that impact was way greater than I definitely could have imagined. So it was like, it's not like they were undercover Nipsey fans, but he was just one of those guys that the way he moved and he wasn't trying to make so much noise, it was so much more of a deep connection when it came to Nipsey versus this whole commercial level. Because you see all these people with commercial success. There's a lot of artists, I'm not naming names because that's not the point, but there's a lot of artists that would probably pass away and wouldn't have this exact same effect. You know what I mean? But they have way more commercial success. They make more money from music, things like that. They're big labels and have big deals and all this kind of stuff, but they wouldn't have this level of impact. And that's because Nipsey really connected and went deep. And there were so many people that had a one-to-one connection with Nipsey, even though he was somebody they never met. There were so many people that really respected what he did and what he represented. And even when he was gone, he represented a piece of hope that people had. He represented the good that we wanted to do, right? To see somebody out there doing it and doing things that some people want to do. And now that person is gone, it makes a lot of people like, dang, should I go back inside? Because I think this guy was inspiring me to get out there, right? It's so many nuances that comes from what he represented and what he was doing and the constant inspiration he was. That whole marathon, you got to see this story happen in real time, him always talking about it and then living certain aspects of it out years later, not just a couple of months later or just 1 year later. So but once again, like we talk so much about not needing these big commercial, because um, he only had the deal for what, like a year now, maybe a little bit
Yeah,
over,
he
but he's
got the
been in it
deal
for, yeah,
December of 17.
yeah, but he's been in the game 10, 15 years and he got the deal because what the groundwork that was already there. Is not because of the deal that he was able to make such impact. That did give it a leg up in the last year of his life. But yeah, man, we always talk about having a deep connection with your fans versus just having a hit and blowing up and things like that. There's so many platforms and so many people that I know who they might not have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. They might not have 100,000, 200,000 on Instagram, but that audience that they do have and rock with, they connect and they mean
Committed.
something to those people. And I think once you have that, there was a lot of people who didn't even know who Nipsey was or really understand too much, but when they looked on and saw the connection that those people who were affected and impacted by it, and how that impact, it wasn't just like, oh, I loved his music and it was like, and how and what he meant to those people and all the good words that came out. You saw a lot of people who was like, I need to learn more about this brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
man.
you start reading about this shit. You're like, damn, he did. I mean, even me as a fan, you're like, damn, he did this. Damn, he did that. Like, damn, like, it's like, oh, not only was he already at the marathon store because he was doing a good deed, stopping by to put some clothes on one of his homies who just got out before he got to see his family, so he could be fresh when he sees his family for the first time in 20 years. He was also at the store, the corner that he bought, and revitalize the neighborhood which one day later he would be meeting for a gang meet with the police chief with a gang meeting. Like he was in the middle of so many good deeds at all times. It's just wild to hear like the waterfall of thing on thing on thing on what that guy did. I mean, that's a long way of doing it, but this is I'm kind of like you, man. I haven't been able to talk too much about it. I just been processing. But
Yeah, man. I think the main thing is like I was explaining this to one of my bosses. I was like, let's just like let me break it down in a simple form. As a young black man, it's very difficult. It's very challenging to find successful black men to give a fuck about you. It's hard to find other black men who are in the position that you want to be and actually give you the wisdom and the tools that you would want to get to their position.
mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of times, as a young black male, these artists or these moguls, the Puffies, the Jays, the Nipseys, sometimes that's the best thing that life has to present to us. A lot of times, actually. A lot of times, these moguls and these people that we don't know personally are the best mentors that life has to present to us and we just have to take this.
Yeah.
And this is why there was so much controversy, years and years ago about rap music being destructive, because people knew that if the kids aren't raising them, somebody is. I mean, if the parents are raising them, somebody is, and it's this rap music, And when Nipsey represented is like kind of like the last Mohegan of those rappers that you could actually like grow up on and raise a kid to, and they'll actually like be somebody. You know what I'm saying? He actually taught you principles. He actually taught you about things that you wouldn't naturally think about and things that you wouldn't get from school and things that nobody else would really tell you about
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship and reinvesting and doing all these things, buying back the block, different, just so many different conversations and talking points that you're just not going to get, if you don't expose yourself a lot. And it's like, I've been at 5 major labels. I've been around some successful black people. I am qualified to say it is hard to find a mentor. It's
Yeah.
hard. And
Yeah.
Nipsey was one of the best that life had to offer me. He was just
Mm.
one of the best that life had to offer me. it was definitely a distant mentor, but that's what life had to offer me. And just like different moments in my life, um, I remember hearing Mailbox Money for the first time 4 or 5 years ago, and being in college still, and just like hearing him speak on like social media as like the modern day gold rush. Like these little quotes sparked something in my brain. You know what I'm saying? And made me look at things from a light that I probably wouldn't have looked at them. You know what I'm saying? Even just years before that in 2013. At this time, 2013, I'm really getting my foot in the door. I have no idea about nothing. And Nipsey's out here selling an album for $100 a piece. And, I'm looking at these things, and I'm just kind of like pocketing these little gems as like, this is what it means to have a savvy marketing strategy. This is what this means. This is what branding means, and this is what the difference in relationships between your fans could be. This is how you can kind of escape the because back then streaming didn't exist. So what Nipsey did is kind of build like a way around that, an early form way around that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, he influenced me a lot, man. And it's just it's the hardest part is probably knowing that you're not gonna get any more of those gems. You're not gonna get any more of that motivation. You always have the gems that's already there. But like someone like me who's been a fan for so long, it's like I really was anticipating the new gems because I caught those gems in real time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
hey, that's real, bro. Like I think Joe Budden said it like best, just one perspective, just the fact that he said all the knowledge that's not gonna be able to be passed down to his kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they can watch, just like somebody like MLK. The kids can watch, videos and footage, and they don't even have as much footage, but it's like it's different than like when they can comment on those nuances and see things happen in your life and really give you those gems. I feel for that, man. And I'm one. By the way, Jay Press, what's up, man? I see you, dog. And like I feel for just the whole situation, because I was one of those people. Like if I go early on back into my relationship with Nipsey, it really started with, this guy is like the new Snoop Dogg as far as the way he looks, sounds, feels. Like that's what he felt like, energy, and actually having some resemblance because they super skinny and stuff like that, and same hairstyles. But just from going to that,
right.
I mean, from that to actually developing an individual relationship, and even noticing how he even said it himself, like the branding one-on-one is never walking in another man's shoes. So he distanced himself from those Snoop Dogg comparisons, even though it was a layup, and how some people would use it just to give themselves, some quick money. But he went the other route and allowed that to develop. And it's always these small gems that you could pick up with him, in the same way you can go back and listen to songs and hear new things at different points of life. Nipsey, man, same thing with his interviews. And so like just a gem to artists, because so many people don't want to do interviews these days. People underestimate the value of interviews, like, and what you and the way you can connect and brand with yourself through the interviews in a way that your music can't do. It can extend your brand in completely different directions. Like that was really shortly. That was one of the reasons that Triple X was able to develop his brand. It really came from the stuff he did outside his music. His music meant a lot to the people it meant to too, but the maximization of his brand, because these are guys who are bigger than their music themselves as far as what they represented to and who they represented it to. We can go deeper on that later, but I gotta just I want to reflect on Nipsey and just the fact that if you hear him talk, there's so many nuances outside of those direct gems, right? I mean, just about how he acted and went about things. And here's an example. I was watching a TMZ interview somebody put up, and the guy, TMZ on the street, come up to him with a camera, and they're asking about the Lakers and all that kind of stuff, right? And of course, he a Laker fan. It was, matter of fact, it was the day or right after the Clippers and the no, not the Houston and the Lakers played when Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo fought, and
Okay.
like Rajon Rondo spit on him and all that stuff. And he wouldn't give no bad comments, really getting people's business and things like that. But even bigger than that, he started asking about the development of the Lakers, and he started talking about Brandon Ingram fighting, and and the guy asked Brandon, did Brandon Ingram have more street cred after that fight? And Nipsey just said, I don't know what that is. Small shit like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm not even feeding that gas. I'm not feeding that ignorance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He comes from the street. Like he knows what that is,
Because
but
he
he
knows.
knows
He
I don't know what
knows.
that like. I don't know. We don't respect that. You know what I'm saying? In that way, I'm
Yeah.
not going to allow that kind of thing to build. And just small moments like that, you realize that he's realer. He's not just I'm real and I'm trying to talk all this shit and make people think I'm real. Like he really is consistent. Like consistent as fuck going back 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the most important thing with Nipsey is just like he knew his purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of these niggas don't even know who they are, let alone know their purpose.
Yeah.
And Nipsey knew who he was, and he knew his purpose, and he knew um, he came off the rip knowing that like in the Breakfast Club interview, he said, um, you know, why do you represent the gang culture so hard? He knew why. It's not just cause. He said, because I want to affect gang culture. These are the people that I want to change. These are the people that I want to impact.
Yeah.
So I flag and I represent it because the more that I do while I'm representing them, the more they're going to look at what I'm doing and saying, wow, this is all tangible. You know how I know? Because this brother right here is doing it and he come from the same shit as me. He don't come from nothing more than the shit I come from right here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's a lot of the that's like a lot of the that's a lot of
Hold
what.
up, hold up, hold up. Hey man, y'all that's commenting on like trying to like barter or compete on like which dead rapper felt deeper and all that kind of stuff. That shit lame as fuck, man. Like go ahead and bro who said it's boring, bro. Get off, like just get off. Like I'll leave it at that. But like that's that's lame shit, bro. So go ahead, what you said, man. My bad.
I'm reading this shit right now, man.
This is
Yeah, who that just said it's boring? Satisfaction.
I mean, I don't
That
mind if I
that
don't
is
mind someone saying it's boring. They making the choice to watch it. So that's just weird. But it's the trying to compete on whose death felt more to you. I don't
and
that's
he's saying Peep and X. Listen, man, we're not gonna do the compare and contrast.
yeah.
Um,
You were
but
closer to the person.
but
That
I
means you were
yeah
probably in an environment that person probably meant more to you because you were closer to them. You don't understand the impact of somebody else. That's it is what it is. Like that's cool. But I think that's a simple equation. That's nothing to argue about. If
right.
somebody's dad passed, I'm sure they feel it more than you feel it because it's not your parent, But I mean, you kind of acting like. Well, I'm not even gonna get into that. But give, continue on to what you were saying. Hey man,
Troll ass niggas, man.
hey
but
bro,
yeah,
people got no no morals or
yeah.
values.
Let's just keep it real, man. Some people just rap, and some people is deeper than music, you know. And Nipsey, I think when certain people die, they just make music, and you miss the music, and that just is what it is. And when some other people die, it's a little deeper than just an audio performance. Sometimes a lot deeper than that. With Nip, it was a lot deeper than that. He was actually impacting his community, and he was actually impacting individuals to become better individuals. And I think when somebody like that loses their life, it cuts in a different way than somebody who just really connected with people on a musical level strictly. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you saw. And that's why Nip might not sell as many records as a Tupac, but it feels just as bad because this nigga was really out here affecting people's lives, whether he knew them or he didn't know them. He was actually changing people's lives and creating something that they wouldn't have had he not been there. You know what I'm saying? And that's really why this hits like a brick, man. Because like I said, now it's like you feel like where you gonna get that motivation from? Where you gonna get, you know, that sensibility from? How many of these rappers coming out today are actually sensible and saying something that you could take with you on a day-to-day basis, you know, and actually, you know, a lot of these rappers, like I said, they don't know who the fuck they are. So what the hell are they gonna tell you other than they wrist and they belt? And for real,
Yeah.
what are they gonna tell you? But when you know who you are, you can actually enlighten people who don't have it figured out as much. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Nip was doing, man. That's what Nip was doing. And yeah, man, it's just it's one of the it's one of the illest tragedies to ever take place. And I think none of them are really worse than the other. I think, you know, X was bad. I think Biggie was bad. I think Pac was bad. I didn't really live to see those. But I think Aaliyah was bad. I think Jam Master Jay was bad. Whenever you lose somebody untimely in that fashion, it's horrible. You know, it's not like one cuts worse than the other, but I could definitely say with Nipsey is deeper than just a record or some albums. You know, is way deeper than that.
For sure, man. Definitely. Harry, do you want to switch up and answer a few of those Q&A questions from earlier?
Yeah, what we got?
I'm gonna go with Calvin Coolidge. Well, let me see. He said, blah, blah, blah. Well, all right, I'll just read his comment then first. I think only artists realize how important Nipsey is because he was really giving us a blueprint to success. A lot of artists aren't going to catch that, unfortunately, because they look at shiny objects as opposed to wanting an actual career. But he definitely was laying the blueprint. The blueprint is definitely out there. What are your thoughts on EPKs?
Yeah.
X.com asked this question. What's your thoughts on EPKs, bro?
I mean, you need one. You need something that represents you. You can't just talk about it. You have to have some sort of document, whether it's an EPK, whether it's a one sheet. You know, you have to compile all of your statistics and all of your highlights, your little about me section, and that, all of that type of information needs to be somewhere. So when you're trying to get press and you're trying to pitch something, you know, just something you could show like who you are as an artist. It can't be in email form, like here's my Instagram link, here's my Twitter link, here's my, it gotta be, everything gotta be compiled in one place. It might be on one sheet, it might be an EPK, you might have one sheet and an EPK. At the labels, they have one sheets, they have EPKs, they have branding one sheets, there's all types of shit. So yeah, you need an EPK, especially for press.
That's real.
Yeah.
Super real. Okay. Let me see. What do I think about what Daylight said? I don't even know, bro.
Yeah. I can speak on that.
What did Daylight
I can
say?
speak on that. Daylight is absolutely fucking right.
What did he say?
Daylight pretty much said all these rappers is out here talking about R.I.P. Nipsey. He was a real one. He was a real one, and that's cool and all. But if he was a real one for doing everything that he was doing, what does that make you? You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I totally agree. I think as much as I love Nipsey and how he was an anomaly, I think it's unfortunate that he's one of one. You know what I'm saying? And I think like I even though that is why I praised him while he was alive, like ain't nobody like this nigga, ain't nobody doing what he doing. That is kind of unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why is he such a standalone? It is kind of corny.
I mean, to me, it makes sense that he's 1-on-1, and to me, that's just reality. I get, like, to me, it's an easy thing to agree with. It sounds good, but at the end of the day, bro, he's not the only person who was doing good in hip hop. Like, he was doing it in a different way. He was doing it in a extremely intelligent way. But everybody's not a leader. Like he was a leader. That's one of the differences. Like
There you go.
Jay-Z is a leader and a true forward thinker in a one in a kind mind. That's different. There's a lot of people who are giving back to their schools or donating and just doing things like that. And
And and
that's what they
and
can do. They don't have the
oh,
capacity to
and
move.
I missed one major point. Take out Snoop Dogg, take out Jay-Z, take out Ice Cube. I'm talking about guys who are currently in their moment. Guys who are
Chance the
currently
Rapper,
right,
21 Savage. Like there's people out there, and
right.
then there's a lot of people you don't get publicity for, and that's my thing that I go back and forth with, from especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, because everything, like anything could be flipped for clout at the end of the day. There's a lot of shit that people will give back to something, but then they get to put the PR statement out of it. So at the end of the day, are you doing it because you want it to be, like you actually are looking for the change to happen, or are you doing it just because you want to get the clout off of the fact that you did something good and it's image control? Like you never know with these people, so it's hard for me to take certain stuff for granted, and I also don't like dismiss stuff that I just probably don't know about because niggas is moving in silence with a lot of things that they doing at the same time. So like I do get it, but like I do know there's dudes out there who are just commending it and not. I think it should have been stated a little bit more specifically, but I understand the thought that he's coming from, and everybody moves at a different pace, and that's the relevance of what Nip did I was doing, and that's why it's so unfortunate that he passed, right? Like, because some people have to continue to, a good leader, right, repeats the same message again and again and again, because most people aren't going to get it the first time, but there will be a portion. Some people are going to get it the third, fourth, fifth time, and that's why he was able to impact so many. And there's a lot of niggas who wouldn't have gotten into motion until 10 years from now. And just the reality, you have to make some of this shit a trend just for some people being able to want to do it. Like they got to do it for selfish reasons. Like LeBron opening the school got all that PR. The one positive part of the visibility, whether you do it for selfish reasons or not for your ego, is when people see that people like that he did that, then now other niggas who might just be doing it for selfish reasons will do it too. And
Right.
at the end of the day, we still got the result, and we're getting everybody collectively to move in the right direction, whether it was for right or wrong reasons. And that's what we kind of have to look at it as. But yeah, he was speaking from emotion, so I don't really take anything from what he was saying. Like because I get the general idea, so I don't want to seem like I'm nitpicking. But I think as somebody who's not speaking from emotion and just looking at what he says, when I look at everybody coming from the backlash, I can't allow people to speak as if there aren't people who are doing shit. There are people who are doing shit. The number should be greater, but there's a lot of people who don't even know what to do. And that's once again the importance of what Nick was doing too, that blueprint. It's a lot of dudes who really they don't know how to help give back. You come from certain neighborhoods, you don't even know what giving back looks like. And if you do, you just think, oh, I'm just give some money, I'm gonna throw some money at. You don't know, people don't realize you give money to a lot of these nonprofits and organizations, and they waste the money away anyway. So you don't end up seeing real change. So you have to be smart about it and really build, and you need to watch your donations like you watch other money, because what are they doing with this money? Is this money actually impacting the program, or is it charity? It's cool to just feed homeless people on the street, but at the end of the day, how can we solve the problem and attack the solutions that'll keep homeless people from being present in the first place, right? Like keep them off of the streets in the first place. And those take different thought minds and different leaders who understand that, like Jay-Z, Nips, and some of those other people who are really, really thinking on a higher plane, and they're just intelligent, and they probably don't even need hip hop. They might have used hip hop because the environment they came through, but they're just bright minds in general. They're not just dope rappers or people who happen to have a lot of money. And
Right.
that's why I think he's an anomaly. Like that's why Gary Vee was so hurt. Gary Vee was like, do you understand who that was? Like his mind was greater than just being a rich person and somebody who was really, really talented as an artist.
Right. Yeah. It's deeper than music, man. Sometimes it might be an artist and that might be the title that you publicly know him as, but sometimes it's just way deeper than music. Like even with Hove, like Hove as well. You like, is he really a rapper? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, do you just like step him as rapper, does that explain it? Does that, when 30 years from now, does the term rapper explain who the fuck Jay-Z is to the code? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, sometimes it's just way deeper than what music, than the impact music can make, you know. And Nip exceeded music, you know. Hove exceeds music, you know.
Yeah. Who was that who said? Someone said Uwani Palacio. I don't know how to say that, man. I'm messing it up. But he said if you do stuff for egotistical persons, it will not have the same type of impact Nips has. I do agree when it's not coming from an authentic place. Ultimately, you won't have it that same impact, but it will still have some positive impact. It'll just be diluted a little bit in a lot of ways, and you don't get those karma points. Probably not. You know what I mean? What's another question, everybody? Like, it could be about anything. It doesn't have to be on this topic, but this topic happened to relate. Let me see. I'm in the comments. Definitely Metacom. What's good? You trying to finish building? I'm trying to finish building my brand from behind the wall. I got the brand logo, clothing, and content. Just need some last minute tips before my release. All right, that's from Anthony Stewart. What I'll say to that is when you're building your brand behind the wall, you're in a dark room masterminding. What often happens is you don't know how people will react to it. Like you have no feedback. So, and it's hard to affect the world or completely strategize and mastermind for how you'll impact the world when you're, doing it all in isolation. So just realize there's some stuff that you're doing that's going to be put out there and immediately it might not have the impact. Maybe, luck of the draw, it hits at the perfect time and all that kind of stuff. Cool. But if it doesn't, be respectful to the feedback that you get. Doesn't mean you need to switch up initially because you need to make sure you get a lot of feedback. Really get it out there into the world. Keep pushing. Collect feedback. Don't change up. That's the difference. I want to make that clear. Like someone says this and I need to do no. Like just collect that information until you feel like you've gotten enough of it and you've considered enough of it to determine, all right, these people who are hating on it or say they don't like it, this is just going to be that portion of the population that actually just doesn't rock with my stuff, but I have enough of a fan base that I can build on this. Or you might say, you know what, that portion who are saying this and that, they might be a little right, and I might need to make some small adjustments. It might not be completely what they said, but I might need to halfway do a few adjustments because at the end of the day, these people don't know what you want. At the end of the day, people make comments on like random videos I might be doing or what intros and things like that. But at the end of the day, if they have no context, like I appreciate feedback and people's willingness to give feedback, but I always have to understand that they don't have the context of what I'm trying to do in the first place, even though it might look like I'm trying to do something that they are familiar with based on other people they've seen. So always understand your personal goal internally at the same time. You got anything to add to that, bro?
Nah, I think you hit it right on the head.
All right. Cool. Colin Mag said, I appreciated one of your other comments up there. I don't even remember what it is, Colin Mag, but I just want to let you know I appreciate it. But if you put out the product and it does not look like the pros aesthetically, then do not put it out. I kind of disagree with that in some ways. It does depend on who you're targeting, but there's also this alternative world where the lack of quality is stuff that stands out, and it sometimes can represent authenticity from and be refreshing. If you look at Chiefs Keef, like Don't Like video, it's like, yo, these dudes just no shirts. This is a horrible quality video. Look like it might have been recorded from a webcam damn near. Like these dudes think they fresh and everything like that. They like they're doing it in their heads, but from an outside perspective, it's low quality and what the industry would consider. The industry would never have done that or considered it professional, but it has more impact because it feels raw. It feels more real in that way. So there's a balance of how you play with those things because today we look for so much perfection. Even if you look at auto-tune, we got a lot of singers who are using auto-tune that don't need auto-tune And what people don't realize is that auto-tune makes your voice more like people who can't necessarily sing too, since so many people who can't sing are using auto-tune, and you're taking those imperfections out that actually make an impact. And that's the difference. Like Mary J. Blige, when she started, some of y'all might not even like really know much about Mary J. Blige if you're not a certain age, but like her voice, she's known for being raw, and a lot of people saying she can't sing, but it still made an impact. Like the most technical singers, like operatic, classically trained singers, you probably can hear them sing, and it doesn't like touch your soul in the same way it does of some of these other singers.
Yeah, they thought
The
Mary
same
was
goes for the
trash.
video quality and aesthetics. What's up?
Mary low key can't really sing like that, huh?
You said who?
I said Mary low key really can't sing like that, man.
Not like that, but it still does, but it still makes impact. And I think people have to realize when it comes to art, that's why art is art and not science. Like, there's scientific parts of it, but it's not.
That pain was so authentic. And they didn't know what to do with her stylistically because she was a tomboy that kept trying to put her in a dress. Puff was like, nah, man, let her rock that baseball jersey. Let her wear them Timbs. That's how you market her. It was like, nah, we can't do that. She sings. Puff saw something different.
Yeah, no, Anthony Stewart. No, that's like Russ B is agreeing with you, dog. He feels the pain, but that's because she does because she doesn't sound like some of these perfect singers. Like it is what there's so many, especially there's this perfect voice right now that you hear with a lot of females. That so many of them, their songs sound like you can't even tell which one is which. There's like a couple of branches. There's like a whole bunch of chicks that sound like SZA right now. There's a whole bunch of chicks that sound like. Can't even think. It's like 2 or 3 more female prototypes that most of them sound like, but it's a balance, man. That's all I can say.
One thing I would say to chime in, I don't say if it's not perfect, don't put it out. I say I base it more off virality. I feel like if you watch something that you done put out, especially a visual content, and you can ask yourself, is this something that I would share? And the answer is no, then I say don't put it out. But you know what I mean?
That's the real judgment of quality. That's what it really should be like a lot of times. Like, does it get across some kind of message if it's some bigger message? But other than that, like the quality is how it should be shareability in a lot of ways for a lot of artists who are early on trying to get attention in the first place. You can change some of those, your target goals and purposes of a video when you get a certain level, because now you already know 100 people. You already know like 1 million people are probably gonna click, or 100,000 people gonna click if you like a Nicki Minaj or something like that. So now you can worry about a little bit more branding or doing some cool things or getting certain other types of thoughts out there. But if you're a brand new artist, I think your primary judgment, like the KPI, key performance indicator, should be something like shareability, like Russ is saying. Like, would you share it? If not, then you probably need to think a little bit more on what can I do to this video and get it to make it something be worth sharing. And that does not have to be, it doesn't have to be changing the song up, and it doesn't have to be something that dilutes the brand and it's like all troll like or corny or anything like that. It just takes more thought. I think a lot of people don't realize that most of the win from a video that goes viral really takes place before the video is even recorded. You got to sit down and think about a really creative concept versus like just saying I'm gonna shoot this shit in high quality. And like nobody cares about, you don't get any cool points for a 4K video these days because
no.
A lot of videos are in 4K. Like consumers expect it. So you might get more points for doing something that's bad quality just because it stands out and they think it's interesting. And now they all of a sudden they think you're real because everybody else has this perfect quality. Just like a person who talked about Triple X. Look at me. Yeah, look at me. All right. First, I did that video. You might have seen it, you may not have, but there was a certain amount of quality that was present. It wasn't a completely trash quality as far as engineering. It wasn't industry standard as far as what people like, but the standard is meant to be gone against anyway. But there was a certain amount of quality there that allowed it to still be listenable. Some people's stuff isn't even listenable. Like that, it's a difference between being listenable and just not perfect.
What X did and what many to follow him, probably a couple guys before him did, was intentionally extort the music, which is different than
It's like what Kanye did on the first track of Yeezus.
Yep.
right? That wasn't something immediately, especially off of the expectation of what people think of them. Is it something you like? Oh man, this is rocking. It takes you like, yo, what's going on? It's a lot of noise, and me personally, I have a lot of love for that track because I feel like for them to even make all of that distortion and random noise become something even listenable is a masterpiece in itself. Let alone whether the song is good or not, which I personally rock with that song. I'm not about to be putting it on replay, like for an hour straight, but I do think it's a solid, solid song. Let me see. Do we have any other questions? A couple more science things and song everyone play. What's the best form? The best form of what? Trevor Ashton. All right. I never got that question, but should a new R&B singer release a R&B cover, or should they come up with their own song for a big hit on Billboard charts?
Both.
Expand on that. And that's from Wadner Etienne. Man, I know I messed that up, but yeah. What?
Cover songs, remix songs, and have your own songs. If you look at any classic R&B album, there's usually a cover song on it, but there's also usually a hit of their own or two. Also, I don't think there's nothing wrong with covering songs in R&B. Just don't get caught in that lane where you ain't got your own record. And if you have your own record, that's cool too. But if you ain't blow yet, you should consider covering some songs, because that might be able to accelerate some attention to your original music. So,
both
ways.
Or like cover songs or samples. But yeah, like you see that that's going to get a lot of attention. It's just going to be easier to cut through because it's been a successful melody at some point in the first place.
Yeah.
So you flipping it. So you have a higher chance of success. So of course you want to have something that's just you, because for one, you'll get more money when it's just you, far more money. Sure. For two, people will be able to start to say, all right, you can do this yourself.
But like when people already like you, it makes the cover like really easy to like just become, because people already like you and they already like the song. So like even to bring up Mary again, like we already liked Mary from like the first single, like Reminisce and all that, and then she comes out with Sweet Thing, which is really Shaka Khan, but it's like, oh, like this is the younger version. You know what I'm saying? This is the 90s version. So
yeah.
Man.
And a lot of these artists, some of these people have covers or samples that you don't even detect right away because it's just small. It might be the beat or production, but all that stuff still lends towards a successful formula that'll increase success or help out with that. Like even I think Ella May's Shot Clock that's out right now, that's like a sample of Drake's sample of Genuine So Anxious, right? But like, so it's continuing to be, you're flipping a flip, but you see the formula keeps working, So at the end of the day, like it's a simple answer really. At the end of the day, that samples will give you a higher chance of success. That covers will give you a certain amount of visibility from just people looking for it, and people already liking the song. They want to hear your version if you kill it. And then, of course, you want to be able to have a song of your own for a variety of reasons, whether it's financially or just owning your own sound and things like that. All those things should be done. If you want to go by order, I would go cover song, sample track, original song, as far as order of pushing. Particularly, I'm thinking about somebody with zero resources, don't really have that many other people pushing for them, and don't have that much visibility. You're coming from 0 to hopefully 100. If you're coming that route, if you're at a label or you always got a situation and y'all could really lay out a full-blown strategy, I'm talking about a 6-month push, and you got some investment or just a lot of money saved up, then okay, maybe we can start with our own song and play the other route. But if you need some attention in the first place, go ahead and do a cover first. Start in that space a little bit. Go ahead and get a good sample. All samples. Someone said samples don't cost earlier. All samples don't cost as much as you think. Yeah, I'll just say it like that. All samples don't cost as much as you think, but and then even the ones, there are some that might be quote unquote expensive, but it'll be back end money. So considering you might not have any money, all right, and then you don't have to pay anything up front. Yeah, even if they're taking 80% of $1 million, if you got zero and you now have 20% of $1 million, you know what I'm saying? You're left with that 20%. And on top of that, you also have the visibility and the platform that you can bring to your own solo music, which you can collect all of. So sometimes you just have to use certain things and whatever you can to get out of obscurity in the first place. But once you have it, what do you flip to get there? Because that's when the game is won. That first track, the first hit is not where the game is won. Most people don't win big off of that. Some people do, whatever. But like the career part, there is really how you strategize after you get people's attention.
Yeah, man.
Should you same person? Should you promote your personality or art first? That completely depends on the brand that you desire. If you're somebody like Black, you know what I mean, The Weeknd, you'll go for that vibe, push with the music, especially. And then also, if you don't even have a good personality, or you want the choice because you don't want to have a personality or be out there like that, go with the music first. And also, if you just don't have a personality, like your personality's not your strength, go with the music. And then if you got your personality as a strength, you somebody like Cardi B or some other version of just having a good personality that people fuck with, then you can go with that. You can go that route if you would like to. It's that simple, really, to me. What you think, Russ?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it depends on who you are. But nowadays, if you have the personality, probably go with that. If you have the personality, probably just go with that. It's probably easier. But if you have no personality, then you ain't really got no choice. You gotta just go with the music.
You really don't. You really don't. Dylan Cummings say, how do you feel about Gary Vee's theory that an artist can't be oversaturated in 2019 to 2000 or to 2030 or whatever? Do you think, I don't know if he's talking about the general industry there can be or just a single artist. Let's just say a single artist. Do you think a single artist can have oversaturation in today's media era?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're posting too much stuff that doesn't matter, yeah, for sure, you can overextend yourself and people stop caring about you because you post too much stuff that they don't care about. So I think, but as long as every time you show up, you're compelling and you're talking about something that your fans want to hear about or your fans want to see, then you're good. But I think you start drifting into that land of saying stuff people don't care about when you talk a little too much, for sure.
Okay. And then Jody Lowe said he meant the industry. Expand on that for me, Jody Lowe, so we can make sure we address it in the right way. But in terms of an artist standpoint, oversaturating. Yeah, I think yes, just point blank. It's just like look. If you could spend too much time with a girl, you know what I mean, and then y'all like things kind of die off a little bit, and you can spend too much time with an artist.
Yeah.
Like you to a project, and it doesn't mean you don't like that artist anymore, but people individually will have oversaturation and over that saturation experience with that artist, so they're not going to be as interested. However, it's a long game, so you might oversaturate in one period, but understand you're just really planting seeds and planting legacy. So you might have a 2-year period where you go super, super heavy, but then after that you're going to leave for a minute, and then you kind of you can create that whole new want for you. Since you're somebody that people know and already connected with, you can create a desire to see you again once you disappear. But now you might have to take advantage of and capitalize on a lot of things that are going on right now. You can think about somebody like Kevin Hart. Like a lot of people don't, Kevin Hart don't have the same little aura around him in terms of just being new and catchy. And some people don't even think he's funny. They heard him so many times. Now they're like, you know what? He ain't even that funny. Right. But He's doing his movies. He's capping all he can. So he's cementing his legacy, though, because once he really steps back behind the scenes a lot more in the next era of what he's doing, then people want to see him again. Like they'll be more curious and interested in what he's saying again. So sometimes yes, oversaturation, though all these things are things that are real. However, they're momentary. They don't have to be permanent. So if you are aware of, once again, what you're doing, that's why I say you can take in people's feedback, but you have to be aware of what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, you can say, yeah, I get why he's saying that right now, but this is what's necessary for what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go. Then you'll be all right. So no, you meant the industry. Anthony, what do you do? I thought Dylan meant the industry can't be oversaturated because 90% of the streams online are hip hop. What you think about that?
Say it again.
So I guess he's saying the hip hop industry can't be oversaturated. That's what he's thinking.
Oh, as far as like one artist oversaturating their fan base, or as far as it being too many artists in the entire space in general?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the space, just the space in general.
Oh, yeah, I think we're hitting a point of oversaturation right now as far as the entire market, and that's why probably gonna be some shifts to take place really soon, man. You know, turn of the decade. It's usually how it go. So,
look, I mean, to me, the reality is hip hop has become a mainstream thing right now. It just is what it is. And anything that becomes mainstream, it becomes primary culture. Once it becomes primary culture, there's going to be a counter culture that develops, right? And that just is what it is. And that's going to eventually become the new cool thing, because no matter how cool we see it right now, just like how some people say, oh, trap is still going, it's going strong. It's not as potent as it used to be, right? It's now the tidbits are present, but it's not as potent. And though we might see it, the kids that come at some point, maybe not a kid that was born today or that was born 2 years ago. Maybe it's a kid that was born 5 years down the line. They're not going to respect it or understand it the same way, or they'll go against it because that's going to be their parents' music. Your parents' music was new at one point in time. And now, like this, it's the same cycle that's going to happen over and over again. And you might, just like one of your parents or as one of the old heads, you might be like, man, that shit ain't new. Like, that's just trap music. And that came from WWWoop and Jeezy and T.I. And they're going to be like, I mean, but like that, but it's not going to mean anything. So, like, at some point, an industry or a genre can be oversaturated. Hip hop is already outlasted far beyond what people have expected to, and I think that's because it's been so open to people, right, and allowing all these new forms to come in and being creative and innovating. But will it completely die, or something like that? I think that's a long time before that comes, because it allows all these subsets and people can continue to categorize all these variations that have been inspired by hip hop as a form of hip hop. So yeah, I think it's a long time before we have to worry about hip hop being completely gone. But oversaturation in certain aspects or forms of hip hop is cool. That's the good thing about hip hop. Like it attaches its name to a lot of different shit. Because hip hop's not even just rap music anyway. Hip hop is graffiti. Hip hop is it's so much a part of culture that it's a lot more fluid. But certain forms and sounds will continue to be recycled, and people don't care about it. But there's been genres that have died. People gotta realize that disco, like there's been a lot of eras of music that have died, bro. Like music can die.
Yeah, man. Not hip hop though. We gonna be here.
Gary Vee said you can't oversaturate social media because everybody is posting. I understand that concept, especially if you're a media brand. At the end of the day, nobody's thinking about you as much as you feel like you're thinking about yourself. Like I've had to encourage a lot of people to post more. I literally built my music festival 3 years ago off that same paradigm, because so many people are so like weirded out this socialization, these unwritten rules that if you post too much, like people are commenting on you, oh, he's not cool or he's trying too hard, that it leaves space for those people who are going hard. Now we're in an era people understand the high volume a lot more, but at the same time, you can oversaturate to the people who are paying attention to you heavily, like maybe your core fans, but most people, they aren't gonna see what you're doing on social media. But I think what's more important is you can't just like, you can post a billion times a day on Instagram. What's more important is, are you losing quality of what you're posting? Is it still being relevant? Russ alluded to this already. Like you really you could be posting something, but you sound good in this song, but now this other verse was whack. This other verse was even more like, now you're killing yourself. So don't post past your talent to post frequently and at a certain level of quality. That's what I would say.
Yeah, man. Me and Brent, man, we're gonna try to potentially switch the format up and maybe go into a shorter form, but a more frequent segment. Think that might work better, especially with the Q&A.
All right. Well, with Russ saying that, let's do this. How many? Look, I'm not marrying to any of this shit because I don't know my schedule and life look like. But
for sure,
like, would y'all like to see us just talk about one topic for maybe like 10, 20 minutes on a daily basis, and then maybe we have Q&A episodes specific to this type of thing every once in a while? What are some ideas? Throw out some ideas that y'all would like to see, or this type of format that me and Russ are just playing around with at the time. Other than that, though, matter of fact, I'm gonna switch the view on this thing. But other than that, keep asking questions. Give us that feedback. We're gonna ride. Give us some ideas. We'll definitely read back through that once we hop off the stream. But we should do, let's say, 3 more questions, and then we'll be out for this one. Let's see. Someone says, I'm telling you right now, someone's saying every week, not every day. My guys, thanks for the value. Talk about the scams that go on. The scams that go on in the industry. It's too many different variations of scams, bro. I can't just have a free ball conversation about scams. But Russ, what about you? Is there one particular scam in the industry that people should look out for that you think about?
Just fake shit, man. Fake followers, fake views, fake streams, fake shit. I would think before you pay for anything, make sure that it's getting real results. Get as many back end statistics as possible. You know, if a playlist is saying that they got X amount of followers, like get proof. Get proof of songs that went on these playlists. There's programs that you go buy that even show if these are active followers, which actually matters. Everything matters on a base of activity. There's all type of people that could raise all type of numbers, but if the people aren't active users and it's not real people, that's the most popular scam in the music industry, is raising your ultimate number, but not actually, just kind of inflation.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So Trevor asked, with Facebook's interest being so limited, it's hard to niche down, and buying reposts from an artist and promo channels can be risky because fake numbers, people have fake followers and all that stuff. But what's a good form of promo to you, Russ B?
Oh yeah. Definitely, promoting on other people's channels, just verify that it's authentic, just make sure there's all types of stuff. You got Social Blade and all types of stuff where they pretty much filter out the fake stuff. They give you a percentage. Like this profile is 86%. Like there's all types of stuff you could do to verify, the authenticity of anything. So
that's real. Yeah. Like Google search, social media verification platforms or something like that. But there's definitely some stuff that'll tell you exactly that information. Like this is estimated. They might be off, but they'll be like, it's estimated to be 14% fake followers, even if, or 20%. Some of them might not be because they built fake followers. Just some of these ghost bots are out there doing what they do and all that stuff and following people. But yeah, you want that information, and the rest of it, man, is just do the work. Honestly, like there is no cookie cutter answer. You have to look at each person individually and do the work to research their audience to figure out, are these people even relevant to you? They got a big following, but would these people care to see what you got going on for your particular style? What's their type of fan base like? And then, like what's this interaction look like? What's this engagement look like? And some people have fake engagement and things like that, but you got to spend time and like watch their channel enough sometimes. Like, all right, I'm Like there'll be channels I'm just looking at, and for a month, 2 months, where I can just see like, all right, would I care about this content that they got going on? And like, is it worth this following? Like, why? Trying to understand why it's there. You have to just spend the time, and then the rest of the part you don't want to spend time. You're either gonna learn because you spent time and say, hey, all right, yeah, this isn't what it looks like, or spend the money and find out it wasn't what it looked like. You just got to make that choice and make the best decision you can from that choice. And sometimes you're gonna take a L. That's just a part of the game. But hopefully you turn that into more and more W's by spending that time. Look for one question, whichever one. So you still here, what's going on? You might have a better chance because you're paying for your child. What the hell are people talking about, bro? I'm trying to don't focus on the label because I'm looking for one more question. Can you answer my question? I don't see the question.
As an I see one iconic ruffian. As an aspiring artist, should your main focus go towards getting a deal or build your fan base? Listen. You're not going to get no deal without no fan base. So I ain't going to answer that question. What I'm going to tell you, you ain't going to get no deal without no fan base unless your uncle runs a major label or something. Other than that, unless your uncle is a senior vice president at A&R, unless your aunt is like, you're gonna have to build the fan base. It's not a choice. It's not, do I want a deal or do I want to build a fan base? I think I'm gonna pick the deal. No, there is no deal. Do you have a deal on the table now? So then don't treat it as a choice. Treat it as a fact of what you have to do.
Yeah,
unless it's a choice for you right now. I don't know. Inform me.
I would say, look, for me, at all times, move as if you are building an independent empire. Like, and then when the opportunity arises, if something arises where you get that opportunity for a deal, then you consider the choice. But like Russ said, like that's not a choice right now. Right? It's not a choice. I know you're talking about build, so maybe they're saying if I want to increase my chances of signed to a record label, I should focus on this, and this versus I'm trying to build a fan base. And generally, there are some nuances there, but I guarantee you, just move as if you're trying to build something great independently, and you'll get the opportunity for deals. And if you don't get a deal, you'll have something that's real for yourself. And just keep it that simple. I see this one more. I gotta answer this question. I said the other ones will last, but I gotta at least answer this question because I think it's interesting. I still like to see what you think about it. But why is Atlanta so dominant in hip hop, and will they ever be dethroned? I think
because the South got something to say.
Hey man, like you getting straight into the history of it, man. I think the South being so highly collaborative as it is, I think that's one reason why it's so dominant. But really, if you look at the history of things, one, we weren't given credit for a long time. So it was an underdog in Atlanta. And when Atlanta came up, then they just understood that we saw all these other things happen in other markets. We saw how 50 kind of blew up the New York market, or if it's not just 50, all these inner beefs blew up the New York market and took some of that away from it. And we saw how, like I don't even know why the West Coast died down. Honestly, I can't.
They didn't
for a minute, huh?
Oh, for a minute, yeah. But
yeah, like it died down for a minute in that period where Atlanta was considered becoming so dominant. I don't even understand. I can't say with the West Coast, but greater than that. So of course, Atlanta started with more lyrical and high storytellings and a lot of that stuff. But Atlanta pushed so heavily in a lot of the South in general, just this party music, this fun music, just culturally. And I know everybody has fun and party music, but it was a little bit different in the South as far as where they place their values. Some people could disagree with this, but where they place their values, right? You got New York was highly valuing this, the lyricism and all that stuff that was brought in their culture. That was the core. right? When you think about the South, yeah, we had a lot of lyricists and people we looked up to that happened that were present in the game, but we never got our full credit for that anyway, so we couldn't hang our hat on it. But this crunk stuff and this party stuff and this more fun music that some people would say is stupid or just not substantive, but it still was fun in the club, and then we have the strip club scene as our backdrop. That was something we could hang our hat on. We were having fun doing it, and then when you blow at social media in an era like that, social media, like that type of music is built for the social media era. So I think some of it is timing. There's a lot of deeper aspects. I'm answering on the fly. I'm not going to get into like deep specifics. I can really, really break this down. But so I think it all the extended reign of Atlanta, especially, I think all comes down to the timing of social media as well, and more, and how memes and things like that help with that type of music, because that type of music is built for it. What you got any thoughts on it? I know you got like a history lesson, bro.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all was kicking our ass before memes. So I can't really blame it on memes, because I think of like 07.
Oh yeah.
Before, like when we were still on Facebook and there wasn't no memes, and like y'all was whooping our ass then. So I don't know if I could even cast the blame on social media.
Nah, I specifically said the extension of the era. I think it blew it up on another level. Right. But nah, that's not the original reason. Nah, that's not the original reason. Like, what do you think is the original reason from your perspective of what you saw? Outside of New York hurting itself in some ways, what did you see in the South that helped it build up?
I think you guys just presented something new, and New York was kind of too stuck on like traditionalism, and we didn't know how to like evolve.
Yep.
Like y'all knew to go from crunk to like snap to like trap. Like y'all did those steps of like, okay, that's dead now. This, okay, that's dead now. This, okay, that's dead now. And New York kind of just never did that. We kind of just like, okay, that's dead, and we're not sure. So
that's real. It's not married to a particular. Yeah. We definitely evolve and switch up a lot better. A lot of people. Yeah.
That's the main difference I would see, just like from New York and the South alone. And then collaborative, you guys are just killing. Like, you guys are doing what we were doing 15, 20 years ago. You guys are grooming new artists, keeping your legends well crafted and in the game. You look at Gucci out here, like everyone, I don't know, y'all just kind of get it. And yeah, man, I'm hoping there's some sort of shift in the near future. But
oh yeah, and look, and think about the fact that there's less emphasis on lyrics these days. And so now you want to look on the hook. The hook is where Atlanta shit shines too. Like that's what they were doing more than anything. Of course, like I said, it's a lot of different reasons, but yeah, that evolution is probably like the biggest thing that you talked about, Russ. Like just the evolution. And I think we weren't married to a certain sound because, like I said, we didn't get certain respect anyway,
right?
For a lot of shit. So it was nothing. And then the culture. There's so many different people that aren't from Atlanta,
right?
And anyway, it just allows us to move, and it's not even like a strategic. Oh, we're not gonna stick with the old shit. It's just like we were never married to anything. to anything. You know, it was just, we just experiment, and we're gonna do whatever the fuck works, and that's how it goes.
That's real.
But yeah, hey man, appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's an impromptu episode of Culture Shock. It was a lot of technical difficulties behind the scenes to even make this episode happen, and we kind of went off beat from where we started and just free flow with y'all. We're gonna read back on those comments and those suggestions y'all made, figure out how we'll continue with some of these things in the future. But we're just playing around. A lot of the new stuff y'all are seeing on the channel right now in general is just playing around, figuring out different ways to give value outside of that primary way. So hey, just bear with us. Always welcome to the feedback that y'all have. Make it happen. But once again, it might be considered, but it might not be listened to.
Word up, man. Yo, thank you everybody for tuning in. My social handles will be in the description. I'll tell Brandman throw that in there. And yeah, man, we're gonna figure out something consistent so everybody could kind of tune in at the same time, same place, and we could kind of just start to gather a community together, get familiar with you guys, and trade ideas and trade wisdom and all of that good shit that would make Nipsey proud. You heard me? Word up.
But hey man, y'all be cool. I'm tuning out with this, stopping the stream soon. Trying to end this stream, man. I don't know why it's not letting me end it, but stay on for a second. Let me see.
Yo, bro.
What's up?
I'm thinking about thinking about doing a show where I smoke and calling it Too Blunt. It's not a good idea.
Hell no. Well, I don't need to let this joint close, man. This streaming been hell today, man. Just get on my nerves. Let me see. Live. This downstream. Wow, view on one page. It gotta be a way to just. I don't want to delete it. I'm not. Oh yeah, We're not posting this as is, right?
Yeah, we can, man.
Mm, mm.
I believe in it, man.
You said what?
I said I believe in it.
All right, coach.
Yeah, I totally subscribe to the low quality video, and
I'm cool with
the only reason I do is because of how much of them I watch.
that. I mean, a lot of people ain't even watching; they listening.
That's really what it is. I know a majority of the time I'm watching YouTube, I'm never actually watching.
Yeah,
I'm treating it like a podcast.
that's most of my stuff. Yep, I'm listening like a podcast. I gotta, man. It just pissed me off because this thing won't end. When I post it, they gonna hear all this stuff too. Let me see. Stream options. I'm gonna get this jump right. All right, so create a thumbnail. Upload. Was this private? What the fuck? Did I have this problem last time?
I don't think so.
I was like, how to, it should be simple to end the damn show. I don't know why they make it so complicated. It should be easy to just end it. I'm gonna have to text YouTube. I got connections like that.
Oh, for real? You got somebody over there?
Hell no.
I'm about
Text
to
the
say, well,
CEO.
shit. I applied to like 3 jobs over there, niggas. So let me let me send something to you to send to them.
I ain't even thought about you. Look, YouTube seemed like it would be a dope look. I haven't thought about working
They
for nobody.
hiring for some good music jobs over there, man.
I bet.
They
See, I ain't
really
never,
in this space for real.
I never really wanted to work for anybody in the music space though.
Um, that's really where it's at, bro. That's where I'm trying to get to. This label shit, I feel like the streaming services is way better working experience.
You
I
said
don't
what?
know. It's funny because I don't have any point of reference to prove that. It's just like an assumption that I'm making.
Wait, what's the assumption?
That working at a streaming service, not a streaming service, but a Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and
Oh, yeah. Man, I'm pretty sure, of course. I mean, they're already ahead of the game. Record labels are really feeding into
yeah,
them.
they run everything. Like every
Yeah.
artist from every label has to go through them. Everything has to go through them. So like,
I'm sure that's more fun, and then you get more credit. It's a bigger brand benefit to say, "Oh, I worked for Spotify," or "I worked for," like Amber Grimes. She went from Spotify to a high, pretty. I mean, I don't know the details of her, her business like that, but the position she's at, I think Capital or something like that,
yeah,
is a pretty like big position, but it wasn't anywhere near parallel to where I think she was at Spotify. And that's not like a shot. I'm just saying like the value of being at a company like a Spotify
yeah,
is that much value to being at these other companies, which I think is dope. Like, and I love how she flipped that shit.
yep, yeah. That's where it's at, man.
Yeah, bro. Like that's you, bro. If you're not gonna play the entrepreneur game, bro, you got to play the corporate game all the same, man. Most of it's like being in one place, getting a little, getting this on your resume, and then flipping it to another place, and then you level up when you switch companies. A lot of these times these days,
Yep.
I know a lot of people in corporate across different industries, and it's all the same stuff, really.
Name of the game, man.
Yeah, like yeah, that's all it is, bro. Let me see, edit. Completed. Went to mine with our friends, brands. All right, we did that already. Live now. I'm be so mad. I don't know why this thing don't. It doesn't even allow me to click. I'm just F around and just delete this whole shit. I'm gonna have to just exit out of it and then hit you back. I wanted to talk about this show real quick. Hold up, that's what I'm gonna do. F it. I'm just gonna exit out just to see what happens.
I'm gonna start doing this shit from outside, man.
Why? So people can hear the birds chirping shit.
Hell yeah.
A little scenery.
Shit, beautiful, man. We can't do the dual off of the phone, can we?
Yeah, we can. When I was chopping it up with Wendy for that interview, it was on she was on her phone. I done spoke to a few people while they on their phone.
Oh yeah, see, that's when we're gonna hit ultimate convenience status, man. That's why these guys be getting it up so quick. Pause, because they be off of the phone.
Hey, bro, that one was so tough. It's hard to unpause that one, dog.
Yeah, that one was rough. But yeah, man, if we could get it off the phone, that's when something could happen and we could just be on our phone, boom, and get a 10-minute episode up, no cost.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, it would have you do that stuff, bro. Have you live reporting off the streets, dog. Shit. Nigga be on the train. I gotta get one up right quick. Gotta get one off.
Yo, that's how they get down, bro.
Hey, bro, look, I'm with it. I'm just not. Look, I can't do all the formats as one person, so I think that's something we definitely need to give people. I mean, I think especially for culture shock, there'll be an element of that that's super relevant.
Yeah.
All right, you know what?
Especially like I could live stream at like different events and shit. Like if I'm at like a video shoot or something, like just to like add ambiance, like scenery, like
Yeah, and that's stuff that doesn't have to stay up. But hold up. I'm gonna exit out of this right quick, and then I'm gonna hit you back with another one because I think that's the only one that at least we can end and we can be talking off of the live stream. I don't know what this thing is doing. Why is my shit froze, bro? Pissing me off.